The man accused of being a bogus interpreter at the memorial service for Nelson Mandela claims he suffered a schizophrenic episode.
And immediately I see angels come to the stadium. I start realizing that the problem is here. And the problem, I don't know the attack of this problem. How will it come? Sometimes I will react violent on that place. Sometimes I will see like things like chasing me, and then I was in a very difficult position. I don't remember.
He told the Associated Press that he takes medication for schizophrenia and was hospitalized in a mental health facility for more than a year. But you can imagine many people are questioning how it is the man was able to take center stage and whether security procedures were followed or breached. Joining us now is David Hyde, an independent security consultant. David, talk to us a little bit about the protocols for this sort of thing, especially when you have dignitaries on the order of President Obama visiting a country.
Yeah, it's typically, Todd, a shared responsibility between the home country and the visiting nations in terms of their dignitaries. The home country tend to look at the venue security, the ground transportation, the airline security and things. But when it comes to the personal protection of the President of the United States and other dignitaries, that tends to be the Secret Service or the services from the country. So this situation is really a shared responsibility as to how this individual wasn't properly screened, apparently.
What do you make of this story? Because it's so bizarre, and we don't know exactly what is real, what is not real, what is true, what is false.
Yeah, I mean, it appears that at minimum we have a really bad interpreter, and obviously somebody that had some mental health issues in the past and had exhibited violence from what we're being told. Now, the issue here is that normally the screening of individuals working in this kind of environment gets more and more robust the nearer that you get to VIPs and dignitaries. So you would have expected not only South Africa, but the Secret Service to have been looking over the shoulder to make sure that very thorough screening was done of this individual. And it raises the question, if this type of gap could exist, what if we had somebody else who had a desire to harm one of the VIPs? We could be talking about a different story today.
Absolutely. Either way, a huge embarrassment for South Africa. When you look at some of this footage, and we're running some here of the gentleman in question next to some of these top leaders and dignitaries, in your opinion, what was the risk here?
Well, I mean, I think it looks like the direct risk, of course. This man had a mental disorder. It looked like it was being treated to a degree, but he had an episode. So did he pose a direct threat? It would be difficult without knowing his history, but it's possible. He was hallucinating. He might have taken some action towards some of the dignitaries. But this, again, to me, it represents more of a what could have happened. This man may have been a threat, but in another scenario, it shows you that these are the kind of things that can happen when improper screening protocols are in place and every step isn't taken to make sure that we know who everybody is, they're credentialed, they're screened, and we have exceptionally tight security in these situations.
Now, if we are to believe that he does have schizophrenia, even still, as you're saying, different security protocols were not followed, and also he doesn't seem to be sort of a legitimate sign language interpreter either. So there were kind of a series of things, a cascading series of things that weren't properly checked.
Well, that's right, and the reporting on this suggests that this was a very low-priced service that was being provided by this particular interpreting agency, and it really begs the question, when you're looking at a high-security environment where you have very expensive goods, merchandise, valuable, or you have individuals like presidents and things, obviously we don't want to cut corners. We shouldn't be hiring service providers and companies for the lowest dollar, that we may very well be having people in these areas that ought not to be there. The screening and the training and the support isn't at the required level. So this is really a stark reminder to say, look, we need to have the appropriately skilled people in these roles, and they need to be properly screened before they get in proximity to VIPs.
David, great talking to you. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Todd.